I'm David King, and I recently wrote a book called Your Old Testament Sermon Needs to Get Saved. This is a book about how Jesus stands at the heart of the Scriptures, not just the Gospels, not just the New Testament, but the heart of the Old Testament as well. There was a perceptive old man who put a rock in my shoe a number of years ago. You know what it means to have a rock in your shoe. That trips you up, it bugs you, you're going to stop what you're doing and get that rock out of your shoe. Well, this perceptive old man put a rock in my shoe. He asked the question, if a thoughtful Jew or Muslim could be satisfied with your interpretation of the Old Testament, are you really preaching Christian Scripture? Well, that bugged me. It's like, is my interpretation of the Old Testament legitimately Christian? I need to figure out, as a pastor, how I appropriately handle the Old Testament in a way that exalts Jesus Christ and is faithful to the text. So I really wrote this book selfishly for me, first of all, as I was working out a hermeneutic. Like, how do I handle the Old Testament? I don't want to just tack Jesus on at the end of my message. I don't want to leave him out altogether. I want to see how Jesus has actually fulfilled that text that I'm about to preach or teach to my church. And so that's how I hashed out this hermeneutic with a lot of help from other theologians and scholars. I've tried to digest a lot of more academic literature on this and make it simple for me and hopefully for busy pastors out there who will be able to pick up a small book. This is not a large book. It's a handbook that will be simple, hopefully clear and practical to give you a tool to take the Old Testament passage you're studying, figure out how Jesus brings that passage to fulfillment, whatever passage it is, and then be able to bring that into people's lives as Christian Scripture with Christian application in light of the gospel. That's why I've written this book. My hope is that pastors all over our country and who knows elsewhere will be able to get a hold of this tool, use it effectively, and exalt Jesus Christ in their church faithfully, even from the Old Testament. And that we'll see churches built up and people who come to our churches who don't know Jesus hearing a clear message about him, even when you're preaching from the Old Testament.